Tell me it was all in my head, that I don't know what I'm talking about.
According to Encyclopedia Britannica, mountains generally are understood to be larger than hills, but the term has no standardized geological meaning.
Meltology 101, baby. Once you see the melted bricks, you won't fall for their lame-ass tricks. Geologist, you're fired.
Larger than hills, but the term has no standardized geological meaning.
Boom, baby!
Just how many, quote, natural formations are really just extremely weathered, once extremely large stone-built structures? Maybe there are many stone-granite hills, and even maybe mountains that dot our earth, which grand structures of a forgotten people.
Boom, baby!
You've got bricks. What bricks?
Every morning from the long clocks, wanna take the 8:15 into
is up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. I got 27 people here so far. That's a good start. I see a lot of people chatting it up in the chat over here. I want to let everybody know that whoever ordered hoodies, they're all in and they're already out in the mail. So I just mailed them all out today, and hopefully they will be there right around Christmas or just a little after Christmas. So, and I have tracking numbers for everybody's packages. Okay, so I'm going to bring on my co-host, my brother from another mother, my wingman, Shapu. What's up, Shapu?
Hi, Jen.
Did you have a little glitch on your computer while we were starting out? You said you couldn't see anything live.
Yeah. Nothing was working, and the sound was glitching, and it says on my screen like live in 45 minutes.
What?
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah, that's crazy. Freya said she didn't get a notification. It didn't look like I was live on her end either. I don't know. YouTube fuckery. YouTube fuckery. All right, we have a special guest tonight with us. We have Kairos in the house. Welcome, Kairos. There he is.
It's great to be back. Great to be back with you. I had a great day today. Been looking forward to presenting with the two of you. Want to give both of you large commendations. Great work, and you're continually showing. And sometimes it seems like we might be saying the same thing again and again. And hello, hi. And it's okay. We are sounding these things. We're speaking them to people. New people are hearing these ideas. And it seems like there's a large audience that is building. Mm-hmm. We're enjoying the audience. Can't wait to tell you some of the things I've been thinking about and researching for tonight's show. But I wanted to let everyone know I was grouting today. So I look up.
Visitor.
So we've got a lot of us have cats, and they are amazing. And
yes.
They're our companions and our little friends.
And prayers to John Levy. I heard that he may have lost his cat. So
it is quite possible. His cat Studio, the cat, possibly 20 years old, and I can only imagine what a buddy that was.
Yeah. So prayers to John Levy losing his fur baby after all that time. I know that kind of pain as well. So we keep him in our prayers. He's always busting out amazing videos. And when he's not, he's busy. He's got other things going on, but we always appreciate his work. And tonight, Kairos is going to break through a lot of the questions and, theories that we have, how the old world was built, what it would have taken to build it, what it takes to get the people, the equipment, the lumber, the bricks and everything, how it all fits in and what it would exactly take for these people at the time frame that they give us for these buildings and the dates does not add up at all. And Kairos is going to really drive that home tonight with all his research, and I'm really excited about getting into all that.
Yes. So there's several aspects of construction that need to be in place at all times during these explorations. So when we're looking at different photos, we're looking at different time periods. We've been concentrating on the early 1800s through the early 1940s, which is where a lot of the black and white photos and a lot of the construction sites and a lot of the activities are being presented to us. But they are being presented to us. Jinx is here. So we want to think about the logging, the mining, the various transportation, then also the accommodations for all the workers. So we want to keep that in mind when we're looking at all the photos, and we want to think about how large some of these projects are. So we are seeing projects that have bricks numbering into the tens of millions.
And I'd like to also add, I want to also add, this goes back way before the 1800s. I mean, you see these cathedrals and all this other stuff that they give us that, how didn't even have horse and buggy back then. Like they had like barely nothing at all. And they're busting out this amazing architecture.
That's true. We've seen all the pictures of the castles. Yeah, I've got another cat fight. cannot have a catfight. So
it's catfight
season.
season.
Castles, and we see the constructions, and we see the enormous walls and the moats and the canals. And then we're finding that there's a extensive underground in almost every city that is constructed of bricks. Many people may have seen the popular series that was shown by Mike Rowe. It was the Dirty Jobs series, and he was showing everyone how hard it is to work. But he did a underground exploration in San Francisco, and I would encourage anyone to do a small amount of research about what really is underneath those streets and how extensive and enormous that building project was. But I'm having a very hard time finding any convincing construction photos of those streets torn up and the brickwork being done. There's 1,000 miles in just San Francisco.
Wow.
1,000. And that's, it's amazing.
Look at this here. This is Chambord in France. 1500s they built this thing.
Yes. Yeah, I'm very glad that you're showing some of these construction photos of the buildings that most of us are not, we have not had an opportunity to go inside. Maybe have seen them on the pictures. It's quite nice to be able to see them on the screen. But some of the things that I've been looking at, I've had the opportunity to go directly inside. So I have been inside of Fort Point in San Francisco and Alcatraz recently, and also inside many of the batteries and fortifications and bunkers, hardened bunkers, Nike missile launching silos all over the Bay Area, the ones that are on display and the ones that you have to be a little creative to get into. But these places all exist, and the time period for them to all be constructed is a rather short window. When we start thinking about the fact that I'm focused on San Francisco because it's the largest city to me, also Sacramento nearby. But we're told that, you know, the 49ers, 1849, gold rush. Yeah. And before that, we're told that there really wasn't much here. And it was difficult to get here. And there were competing people trying to establish some sort of a foothold. And then we see huge population increase and tremendous amount of materials brought in and constructing. The last time we were together, we showed that a spectacular 1878 panorama of San Francisco.
That was good. Yeah.
I'm hoping that people have had a chance to have a look at that in your spare time and really see how many of those buildings are masonry, how many buildings are wood, how many cable car lines, how many spires, how many cathedrals, and there's walls everywhere. And this is just this is less than 30 years after there was supposedly 1,000 people, and they tell us people were sinking boats offshore to make land claims.
Yeah.
So a very tremendous story. So what I'd like to do is show you some of the gear that was being used to transport what.
While you're getting that set up, I just want to let the chat know if there's any questions for Kairos along the way, please put it in all caps and I will present your question to him as we move along.
Yeah, that would be great. As we're looking at some of these photos, if you break in, I'll stop for a moment and take a question. I'm hoping that these photos are going to raise questions in your mind.
Are you going into a screen share right now?
I think we better do that.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Welcome, everybody. Natalie's here, Bubba's here, Melted Inverted Realm, Ania, Johnny Cool, Pants on the Ground, Jenny T. Murphy. What's up, everybody? Brown Knight. I don't know. It's different.
All right. Do you have my image there on the screen yet, or no?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still working out the details on
you hit present, hit share screen, and then click an entire screen, and then click that window, and then the share button will pop up. You hit share.
Check and see if I have that on the screen.
Here we go. Here we go. We're good. Yep.
Very good. Okay. So this is a stock photo of downtown Napa in the 1800s. This building with the spire has a amazing conical slate roof. It might have had copper, a lot of masonry, and we noticed that the wagons that are being used have very flimsy wheels, and they're very lightweight construction. And most carts are going to need at least 2 horses. And once you start to bring in any type of a load, then we're going to start seeing the addition of multiple horses and teams. So before we go too much further, regarding the horses.
All right, I have a question real quick from Pants On. I have a question from Pants On, and it's here. It says, Kairos, do you find evidence of what would be constructed megalith construction? For example, the use of megaton blocks of granite, etc. in these batteries, fortifications like Alcatraz.
Yes, definitely, 100%, yes. So I have a number of videos in my catalog or library of videos on my channel. I have a good exploration of Fort Point, and there is a megalithic granite seawall that is polygonal in shape, interlocking blocks, approximately 6,500 pounds each. They have saw marks intact, evidence of core drill activities, and the joints are separated by metal and not mortar. And the foundation is permanently below sea level, and the foundation points of this giant wall contain the anchor points for the current Golden Gate Bridge. So very strong, very huge. Alcatraz, same, inside and out. And this is a granite that would need to be sourced. Remember, so we're on this screen, and we're going to start looking at some of the different types of carts and wagons that would be used in the 1840s and 50s during the time period of the construction of Alcatraz and some of the surrounding batteries. They would have to be taken to the site at some point by some sort of a cart in this lineup. So yes, good question.
We have another question here, and Natalie wants to know how or when did you discover that Meltology existed?
So I'm going to say the simple answer, and it's the same answer for every one of us, is as soon as we started looking around. We just, it was always there. So now as we are walking around and looking around, it tends to jump out at us once we've had a good look at it. But as far as really taking a good, clean, clear look at it, as this is something that might have a greater meaning or might help us to understand what's happened in our recent past, I'd say about 4 years, 3-4 years. I've been watching a lot of the interesting channels. There's historians, there's decoders, archivers, chronologists, historians, and then we're taking in the term Meltology, which is clearly looking at damaged structures, damaged buildings, walls, evidence of the mass burying of civilizations. And we're finding the civilizations, we're being told, are going to be using animals. So moving on with the logistics of moving freight. This was an operation where you could possibly contract moving your goods. So this appears to be a very small load. And there's a tremendous amount of mud. I just want to make sure everyone can hear me.
Yes, you're good. You're
very good. So we've also heard about some of the anomalies with photography, saying that it's a very long exposure and people would have to sit still for quite some time. So there's only a little bit of jostling with the animals' heads, and we see a little bit of movement back here, but otherwise very sharp, very clear. But the point is that here is 4 horses that obviously were raised for the purpose of moving freight and goods and working possibly on farms. And they would have to be well taken care of daily. They do have to be groomed and fed and watered continually. Otherwise, you run the risk of losing your load or having huge delays. But I'm looking at this weight. Maybe someone in the chat could possibly give your best guess of what that might weigh.
Oh, you know what I want to point out too is these wheels. You never see spare wheels on anything. Like, do these wheels break? And if they do, where's the spare at? That would take a lot of time and delays as well.
Yes, so that's a very good point, is that we're not seeing a problem with this method of transportation where we're seeing crashed wagons and broken wheels, and overturned loads, and having to unload massive loads on site so you can put another wheel on. You're not going to jack up one of these loads with some sort of a block and tackle or makeshift levers,
right,
when you have possibly 10,000 pounds.
Right.
And then this is, you've mentioned there's not a spare. So we want to remind everyone that's not familiar with fast freight. It's not that fast. It's maybe 12 to 20 miles per day is a pretty good average if you were on fairly well maintained roadway. It's something dirt or gravel. There really wasn't much paved. Many of the communities are going to start seeing the brick and the cobble in the actual industrial and town areas. But these travel routes, we're talking about the time period when it's Pony Express, and they're thinking about building the railroad, and they're excavating tunnels and building amazing trestles and crossing these rivers. This is before that.
Right.
So when these people are coming to a large river, and some of these rivers are very large, we need to know how they were able to possibly get across there. Just a load like this.
Yep.
You might, if you come across anything more than about 2 to 3 feet deep, you're going to be in big trouble. And if it's moving at all, you're ruined. And so we're looking at these, look at these methods. So let's keep going. So this is when we get into the multi-hitch. We're starting to see, and by the way, if you're interested in locating more photographs from our history or what's being presented to us as our history, westernmininghistory.com, fantastic resource. So there's a lot going on in this photo. There's an amazing building that was built by masters. And then we have a tremendous number of trained, well-behaved, ready to work, well-fed, watered, ready for a long haul. And we have people that are walking along with these multi-hitches because they need to interrupt the flow of the hitches midway to make corners and prepare for braking. And the animals are not going to be part of the braking mechanism. So they're for pulling and for moving. But when it comes to the downhill, we're going to examine, the so-called running gear. So we have a huge number of well-constructed, strong, likely hard oak, very old growth, hewn correctly so that it's balanced. And each wheel has a metal hoop over this. And it is properly referred to as a tire. And each one of these is going to be forged or hand beaten into a ring that is slightly smaller than the specification of the wooden wheel. And that piece, when it is correctly beaten into shape, is going to be put into a large fire until it is much hotter than normal. Then 2 or 3 people are going to help pick that thing up with very large tongs and place it over the wheel and beat it onto place before it cools. Once it's over the wood, they will quench it with water and it will shrink slightly and stay on the wood wheel. for the life of the wheel.
Wow.
So each one of these is going to be made in a shop somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere, when we think about the number of wagons, the number of loads, the amount of goods, this looks like a pretty light load. This looks like a lot of junk. I don't see stone. It is not. It looks pretty. Looks questionable. I think if they went on any kind of a side-to-side movement, there could be some problems. But back into the logistics.
Yeah, Pence says something really interesting here.
Yes.
When they come across like a river or stream, you know, and there's no bridge, what do they do? You know, so do they?
See, that's a fair question. And we're being told that these pioneers, these cowboys, these movers, these people had energy, they had drive, they knew how to work, they weren't afraid to get their hands dirty, they rolled their sleeves up, they were calloused, and these guys, they sweat blood. So these guys were able to do, they're making all of the tack. They are creating all of the connection points. This is metal. This looks like it's possibly chain, and it may have some tensioning to keep these guys at a correct spacing between them. You can't let the animals get out of control. Someone made blinders for every animal. So we have a huge production of everything at a time period when there was almost no one. So these are pictures that we've seen. We've all seen these. These are ox or cattle. And they all need to be fed, and they all need to drink water every day. And they can only move during probably the daylight, and we need to think about the weather too. No one's talking about the weather, and I'm enjoying this back up here in the top. Up here on the top.
Not many trees.
There's no trees, and there seems to be some interesting shapes.
Yes.
Very interesting shapes. So this is where things get dicey on the old mule train. So once they go into a downhill slope, everything comes to a screeching crawl. You cannot have a runaway wagon train. That's not ever part of what is allowable in this time period. You'll kill your animals and yourself. So we're now relying on this mechanical braking system with intricate hardware tied together with nuts and bolts and rods and levers and huge braking shoes that are going to be able to control this load to a stop at any time due to conditions. So each one of these is a complicated device that's going to be made again in some sort of a shop. Don't know if any of you have been to any of the theme parks or what have you that may have opportunities to ride on a carriage. Has anyone ridden? Have you ridden on a carriage? Have you ridden in a stagecoach?
Only a big sled, like a giant. These big workhorses.
They are not always predictable, and they don't always do what you would like. Yeah. And we've all heard the term stubborn as a mule. So apparently they've taken the most stubborn animals to run their entire operation. But there's a lot going on in this photo. Not only do we see what was being used to haul, some things that are on backup over here, but there seems to be a very large, heavy masonry constructed building with a very large door in front of it, and there seems to be a tremendous amount of debris all around the structure. So they may be entering and taking. We don't know what they're doing. So this, I was looking at this one here. So this appears to be someone's furniture.
Yeah.
So I'm looking up in here, and there seems to be possibly some chairs, or maybe some, maybe a lot of chairs with backs, some other chairs, possibly some interlocking items. Nothing is covered from the elements or the weather, and it's very dusty and very dirty. And again, we have a large, slow-moving train of animals. This may be water for the mules. don't know that. And we look at the intricate components of these breaks, each one connected together. But I can't imagine them going much more than about 5 miles an hour. It may be 2, or a lot of times there was people walking along with them, just crawling along.
There's
And
a lot of chains we're using. You can see a lot of metal chains, and
yes, thank you.
They don't look really rusted or anything. They look like really.
So let's look at
this, shiny and stuff.
So this is the surface that is contacting the road. And here's the chains and the barrel hoops. And there's hub hardware. There's rods. There's more hardware. These are all metal items, steel or iron. And they're likely being made in a shop, each one of them, you know, as a kind of as a work of art. I don't think this is a time period when there's factories in every area for wagons. So we're starting to wonder, where were they blacksmithing?
Right.
And where are all the iron deposits that are being mined and moving hundreds of thousands of cubic yards of iron ore to a processing plant where they're able to heat it to high temperatures for sustained periods of time, then move the slag and impurities off of the molten iron, and then cast it into something that is usable, and then bring it to these places so they can begin to work. So this is a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, and also Annette has a good question here. You know, when things break down along the way, you have to have provisions to fix this stuff, you know, because if not, you're just kind of like stuck where you are.
Right. And we take some of the modern conveniences today for granted. A lot of people have a spare tire on their car or their truck. A lot of people really don't know how to change them. They rely on someone. Maybe they'll get a tow. A lot of people don't want to get on the side of the road and do that today. But I'm thinking about what it would be if this is all one group of people that are taking all these items to some work town.
Yeah.
To provide, I don't know what would be in here. Could be potatoes, could be some sort of food. I doubt it's flour, because it would probably spoil due to being contaminated with dust and also
maybe
moisture.
Some grain or something. I don't know.
There's a lot of things happening. These horses look great.
Yeah. Yes.
These are some of the healthiest horses you'll ever see. These look like show horses.
To me, it looks like all these guys are going to a large town to sell their stuff. You know, they are in the country, and
these look like circus horses. These look like parade horses.
Yeah, probably.
They do, yeah.
So this photo, and all photos, because I think people need to really, really keep it clear that just because they see a photo somewhere doesn't mean it's of any value. You need to pick it apart and think carefully what you're seeing. So in this time period, we've come to a complete standstill with everyone's loaded gear, and we've set up some sort of a camera to get this great photo, and we appreciate it. But this is a staged photo, of course, but they used the best horses they had. The photos we saw before, those were small mules, and some of them are not necessarily matched side to side. You'll see tall ones next to a short one. But this is a spectacular photo. But this is only during good weather that you're going to be able to have that day of movement.
Right.
And we need to think about, what does the ground and the terrain and the land look 1, 2, 20 days away from this place? So you're going to sleep somewhere every night, and you have to eat, and all your animals need to be cared for and watered every day. And just as a point of reference to regarding the megalithic granite at Fort Point, they say a lot of it's from China, but the stuff that's not, the nearest quarry is 120 miles away. So we'd say maybe a minimum 10-day trip. But there's no bridges, so somehow We're going to cross all the major bridges, and they are extensive. So a lot of miracles, a lot of miracles. So here's another large train for hauling ore. And we see the large wooden braking systems. Each one is going to have some sort of a design, some sort of a plan behind it. That's a lot of work. I had someone had commented they estimated some of these wheels are 1,200 pounds per.
Wow.
So we look at the, just think about the amount of weight in an empty train. Each wagon is going to need a brakeman, and there's going to be several helpers that are going to walk along with the mules to keep them steady and to get ready to take on tremendous elevation change. And again, you know, some of these areas are very soft ground, and these wheels would only be able to operate on hard packed.
Right.
Sand would be a disaster, wet grass, any kind of deep mud. You cannot move. Snow is out of the question.
Oh yeah, but they don't have a spring suspension on this. You know?
These are solid suspension, and the ride is terrible. And once you start putting 1, 2, 4 tons of material, all riding on wood and on metal, so we're going to have some sort of a reliable bearing system to keep these wheels from disintegrating.
So they're going to have some kind of grease in there, right?
There's got to be something.
Yeah.
And it has to be held on, and it has to stay within certain tolerances so it doesn't wobble off or break off, because that will put a standstill to the entire operation. So here's approximately 20 mules following another large hitch of animals. And this is something they may be hauling. So if you've looked into the history of borax mining and its usages, it's still available. It's essentially purified boron mineral on the periodic table. It's extracted from the ground, and it has a variety of uses. Most noteworthy is for cleaning, and it seems to have an oxidizing effect to activate and work with the water to become a better solvent. So this was very popular, and people were buying this borax, but their logo was the 20 team, the 20 mule hitch. This is what they would carry. So, and this is on display somewhere. So we have the solid oak planked, refined and milled lumber with vertical metal slats and hardware for each stake. Then we have the large metal tires, the well-hewn spokes, brake system. But this is another component that we haven't spoken about in the presentation, and that's the water tank. So they were bringing this water tank with them everywhere they went, because they are moving these loads out of Death Valley, out of the Mojave Desert, out of some of the most inhospitable to live in and to work in, temperatures above 120, very, very little precipitation. So they are bringing this for themselves and for their animals as they come out of these tremendous wastelands in the Midwest. So
Melanie says you get the nerd award of the day.
Once again, say again.
Melanie says Kairos gets the nerd award of the day.
I'm using of the word narrative the most in any recorded instance. Yes. So here we have a large metal tank that is plate iron, plate steel. So this is from a very early time, and they're able to make the metal and drill all the holes and place all the rivets and create some sort of a cap. This would be absolutely necessary, as a lot of water would slosh out just moving around. And this is a very heavy load. It almost looks like a repurposed boiler tank from some sort of a steam engine, possibly.
Yeah.
But regardless of what it is, each one of these wagon loads needed to have one. And as they are moving large volumes of material from mines all across the Midwest and really all across the world simultaneously, bringing the amount of materials to build the world. This is what was available. Here's another view, and you can see that it looks like it would need repairs from time to time. But they are it's very strong, very thoroughly and thick built, but sitting out in the elements, you can see they're going to wear. Wonder what would happen if this hub had cracked going around some sort of a corner as the team is getting ready to start the downhill. How would that work?
Exactly.
So now we're going to start looking at what is going on with the animals. Which part of these components did they bring? So asking about moving the megalithic components of the brick forts in the Bay Area, let's say they had something like this. And I don't know if that's stone or logs, but we know that granite weighs approximately 180 pounds per cubic foot. And we're looking at some of these pieces back here. These are very likely big granite pieces.
See, my question is why did they not build a road around this thing first so they can wheel this shit in? I mean, they're already looking like right here in this photograph that is pretty muddy looking soil here. It just makes no sense that the building's first and they're still mucking around with these roads. I mean, if it rained for days and stuff, everything would come to a halt. You'd have to wait for everything to dry out for you to bring all your stuff in with all this weight on it.
That's right. So in modern construction, the first thing that needs to be done on any job site is creating accessibility. You have to be able to get the workers and the vehicles up to the job site. And then once you have done that, then there's the amount of grading that would be required to make the surface flat. You have to verify that it's compacted soil, that it's going to be in an area that's not susceptible to ponding or flooding. So all these things must be taken into consideration. So I agree with you. It doesn't make a lot of sense to see this building in its completed form with mud and garbage everywhere.
Yeah.
It should be.
It looks like to me that they just put the steps in.
That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Same. And they are steps that would be easier for people in top hats to walk up and down. So it looks like we've got, let's see here, we've got 3, 6, and 4 observers.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot of stuff going on here.
That's fine.
And yeah, the building does look old and weathered. If you go back a picture real quick, if you look at the top part of the A-frame, yeah, all there. Look at all that, guys. This building's been around for a while. Man, they're just coming in, cleaning it up, taking down plaques and whatever, repurposing it, and giving a new narrative, in my opinion.
So this is another example of doors for giants and structures that do not meet the size of the people that are said to have built them. So this is overkill, it's overdone, it's unnecessary, it's expensive, and these items are not coming on that.
Exactly. And they never show how these items get there. They're always already there.
That's correct. So one of the items about so we've talked about the components of the logistics, and mining is one of them. So each one of these appear to be solid granite, cut to precision with repeating size and shape, and they look very well placed, 90-degree angles, vertical surfaces. Very likely, if you had a level with you and went to visit this site, if it's still standing, it would very likely be an example of some of the best construction you will see in the world. Yeah. Very flat plains, built to last 1,000 years. And amazing. Yeah. But in the front, we see
a lot of windows in this one also.
You see a pile of garbage. These guys are, I don't know if he has a hammer. I don't know what they're looking at or doing, but it's not related to this building.
It looks to me like these are railroad ties or railroad things. Like maybe they're getting ready to put in a trolley system here or something going past this place, but it doesn't look like they're putting in like anything like a road or
these look like some sort of temporary staging that might have held something up, but they do appear to be pulling something with a chain. It looks very slow going and dangerous, and I'm not sure what they're hoping to do. Let's say that this is a piece of granite here, a leftover. That could be 1,000 pounds. That could be a 5,000 pound load, and that might be as much that this wagon can handle. If that was as heavy as I said, and that's wood, I'm thinking no, it would break in half. So that's probably wood.
Yeah.
But we're looking at these blocks, and we don't know how they were cut. We know how they would be cut today, and it's very expensive and very difficult, and it takes a very, very long time. And it's the result of extreme mining where you're using bulldozers and huge loaders and giant trucks to move the stone into a machine that will cut it for you with water cooling and mechanical means.
I wonder who's bringing in all the windows.
Yeah, and
the windows are always an amazing topic to consider because it's very refined and amazing and complicated work, and they seem to have no shortage of every size and stock at all times. And these apparently, if you move them on a wagon like this, you're going to have to go to extreme measures, and otherwise you end up with an entire load of broken glass.
Exactly.
This is not tempered glass. This is fragile, brittle glass. It's very high quality, very nice, but brittle nonetheless. So at this picture here, we're looking at the means and methods of movement during the time that this may have been built. And it looks like it's already in bad shape. And it looks like there is a lot of soil here that doesn't belong. It looks like they're entering in through not the original floor level. Mm-hmm. But here would be the type of transportation. I mean, I guess to get to work, to bring the crew, I don't know. But it seems miraculous. So here is Fort Point in San Francisco, one of the earliest photos, and this shows the megalithic wall.
Wow.
This wall, and I don't know if these photos are worthy. They probably are. This is probably some people out taking a walk, and I guess, whatever. But this, there could be 30 to 40 feet from the top to the rocks, but the foundation is below sea level all the time.
All right.
There's no way to build this with the current water levels. And then we have this incredible brick structure. So each one of these pieces is a refined granite block, as are all of these, and this entire running bond and the piece on top. The brickwork is exquisite. Every single sill is granite. Over here, this giant granite entryway. Amazing work and very heavy. These are the ones that are interlocking. They're six-sided from the top view. They're polygonal. Each one is the same, repeating. There's 3 different types, 3 different sizes, and they interlock like a puzzle, but they have metal between the joints, and it's 1,800 feet long and approximately 80 million tons.
Wow.
And this is 1840s through 50s, and there's no construction photos. And all the granite supposedly came from China on boats through here somehow. Another view not often seen of Fort Point. So this is obviously before the construction of the Golden Gate Bridge. This is the location of the Marin Headlands, where there are many bunkers and installations.
Oh,
I'm having a hard time finding construction photos of anything bunker related. Now, this is the part that's not seen. It's all covered up and mostly gone. It's been built over. These are large, intricate brick batteries. They're calling them batteries.
Yeah.
And they are right near to this amazing brick installation. But things that resemble this are evident all throughout the Bay Area. I'm understanding there are over 40 of them.
Wow.
All throughout, and all of it has the similar story. So built very quickly, built in secrecy, never completed, abandoned. Then
very little information on it.
There's really not a lot to go on. So those that are looking or walking here, so you can walk between the fort and this giant mound, and the entire edge going down around this entire area is very, very bad condition melted bricks.
Wow.
Okay, so I spent a good amount of time inside of Fort Point looking at the intricate brickwork, as well as we're looking at Alcatraz now. And this is before it was said to be the largest concrete structure in the world when it was built. So this is the brick. This is the brick citadel. This is not the concrete work. So looking at this picture, we're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then some auxiliary walls.
Because the whole thing is the building.
It's the rock. Yeah, it's made of rock. They built it out of rock. So this structure has intricate arches, large windows. We're looking at possibly blocked up entrances in the lower wall.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're looking at a very large volume of constructed heavy masonry leading up to the citadel itself, all brick. And some of the earlier colorized photos are starting to hint that this section up here may include a very large amount of copper, and that
Really?
would seem likely, as that's what the large brick so-called power plant on Mare Island, which is still mostly intact with its copper.
Yeah, and it has a lot of columns in it too. I'm looking at all those columns.
It's really amazing. So when we look at some of the aerial photos or some of the maps, we come to find out that this is actually they're calling it a dry moat. This is when you look at the aerial photo, this corner of the building and this corner of the building kind of resemble like a 2-starred star fort.
Okay.
It has the 2 points that point in opposite directions. Very interesting. But this entire structure goes underneath multiple levels with all the brick arch construction. It ties into this building down below. It appears to all be the same building, so very likely these entranceways go directly in. So quite a spectacular build. But now the logistical nightmare. It's 1.5 miles from the shore.
Yeah, how did they make that happen?
And it's 1840s now, and there's only 1,000 people, and they're building Fort Point at the same time. So, there's probably not a lot of workers available, but we don't have any construction photos. We don't know about the origin of the bricks, and a lot of the bricks and walls are very, very badly heat damaged, very bad. So here's the last photo of Alcatraz, but we're starting to see that it's a very complicated building.
Wow.
It has many levels.
Look at that melt.
That's correct. And here is a lighthouse with the Fresnel lens. But this is the part that I find a little interesting. I don't quite understand the reason behind it. Is the Alcatraz lighthouse, which is inside the San Francisco Bay, is said to have been the first West Coast lighthouse. So concealed by the land, yet the Fresnel lens is here. But this is a look at the layers. So this might be the copper part.
Mm-hmm.
So tremendous arches, tremendous construction, lots of walls.
Wow,
And
even down there, look. Yeah, there's wall popping out there just above that melt that you're pointing at. Yeah, right there. Wow.
Right. So I was able to walk here on my trip and walk down around the base and look around and see a lot. Really great place. Some of you might have remembered seeing this photo from a different presentation. I think it's very interesting. This is a visual tide marker.
Oh, wow.
So this is the limit lines of the tides in San Francisco Bay even today. So the king tides, the highest tides of the year, which are happening now, are somewhere in the 7 to 8 foot range. And they may drop somewhere between -1 and 2 feet. This is currently showing the tide is 4 feet above mean sea level. And this little float here apparently activates it. But the reason I bring this up is that this photo could be 150 years old, and this is exactly the same. The water levels are still the same. There's been absolutely no change in sea level over the years. So
but yet they try to use the fear tactic. Oh, sea levels are rising, global warming.
It's another distraction, unfortunately.
Another globe.
So this here is just to mind blow. This is just for mind blowing. So this, I don't even know where it is. It's a real picture. It's some sort of an amazing viaduct or bridge or something. But this is precision geometry.
Yeah.
And craftsmanship, and to plan this build and know how many bricks you needed to have on site and have them ready and have the area prepared so that you could execute
and
this.
All that mortar ain't no joke to get, to handle.
That's right. And mortar is a byproduct of mining, as are all the components and the pieces that make up the clay of the brick. So it has to be special clay. You can't just go grab any kind of dirt. And then you need to have the correct sand and lime, which is processed after mining, and cement, which is processed after mining, and the sand, which has to be screened after mining. And this has to all be brought to the job site dry and ready. And unfortunately for the workers, this is before mechanical mixing. So it would be an absolute nightmare, and you'd need a large number of workers. Quick shout out to Pants on the Ground channel. He is showing fantastic work, and I wanted to highlight something that I think he can appreciate here, and that is this complicated brick bond. So each one of these columns is not just thrown together. It is built in such a way that it's running. This one returns back a different size one. Each one of them, they're interlocking tightly and from multiple points of direction, so it will not want to come apart. They use the same style all the way through and all the way down to pull this off.
This is incredible. We don't even do this kind of stuff today.
Yes. So Shapu, this would be a great time if you would please show the preview of the Alcatraz trip, please.
All right, let me make sure he's still here.
Where'd he go?
He might be taking care of something real quick. I'm not sure. Shapu,
Okay.
you there?
If you can go ahead and pull me off screen. Yep.
Okay. There we go.
Hello.
Hello. Hold on. I have something in my way here. I don't know why it's here. See if I can move it. There it is. I just had something blocking over here. Juan's in the house. Welcome, Juan. You're a little late, but that's okay. Better late than never. Shapu's going to be back in just a minute, I'm sure. But
yes. Well, I was doing a lot of talking, and I'd like to have a little drink of water right here.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I was doing something.
Not a problem. I would appreciate it if you'd show the Alcatraz preview video that we spoke about, and then we can return back to the stream and possibly take some questions. I know you had some items that you were going to share with us, and it would be great to see what you had. I would love to put my eye on it and maybe point out some amazing details. That would be a logistical nightmare. We're looking at that. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. All right. So I'll show
Mellow
you.
Yellow's in the house. What's up, Mellow Yellow? If everything's going good with you, we've been praying for you. Melanie says your nose hairs are on point. Oh, boy.
All right. I'll show the Alcatraz preview.
Okay.
Kairos. All right. Seen in this?
Yes.
All right. Sorry for earlier. I had something.
Oh, you're good. You're good. It's all good.
So it's all barrel vaulted ceilings, barrel vaulted brick ceilings. Coming in here, we've got unusual doors, granite sills.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
All this damage.
Granite stairs. Quite interesting. Excuse me, Ranger. I'm doing a short video. I was just curious if you could tell us where they sourced the granite. And
It came from China? All right, hold on. Let's just pause this. So did somebody put in a call to China to let them know they needed granite steps and 18 whatever the fuck? Are you kidding me? I'm just saying. All right, continue.
Yeah, probably came from those Chinese, the junk boat.
Who let China know that they needed this? Oh, boy.
Yeah, telegraph, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure. They had it already.
in the 1840s. Copy. Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay, look at this. Look at this. Look at these angles.
Wow.
Look at this work.
And these are thick with brick. I mean, it's not just what we're seeing on the outside. This is thick with brick, and these angles that they're doing and everything. It is not an easy job to do this. You need skilled masons to do this stuff. And apparently there was no shortage of skilled masons.
No.
Look at this iron. That is not, that is so ancient. The rivets are just worn down. Look at that. And then we're back outside the Citadel. So they've done a tremendous amount of work with what they had found. Huge walls. Huge walls.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Nice.
I wanted everyone to really see the extreme craftsmanship in those barrel vaulted ceilings. Mm-hmm. And each one of those stairs, when I asked the ranger where they came from, they're probably I don't know, 1,200 pounds each. And the saw you can see the saw marks, and they don't show the public very often. They have different levels of entry fees to get in there, and you've got to spend a decent amount of money to go underground. And They don't always show the same places, and there's plenty of places that you're just certainly not allowed to go. But there are some good explore videos if you're interested in looking at what it looks like inside of Alcatraz. There's plenty of people that are taking tours, and there's small documentaries that can be seen. So very good.
Yes. So those granite steps remind me of the sidewalk of the curb moldings that you see in Pompeii. So the sidewalks are brick. The curbs have a molding over them that look like, I guess it's granite. I never knew what it was, but I know it's some type of molding. And that stuff melted over into the pavement from the curb in Pompeii. And you can see a lot of them warped out in like Old Town Philly streets and stuff like that. If you ever look at the curves, I never knew what they were made of, but it could be, I guess it could be granite.
Yeah. No,
granite, there's a lot of granite being used, and a lot of granite being used in the Bay Area. And a lot of these old fortress and military installations. Mare Island, which is in Vallejo, which is into the San Francisco Bay towards Sacramento. And they have a huge amount of granite, but you reminded me about those curbs. And they have a lot of it's covered. There's only a couple areas that it's still peeking out. But these are very long, machined with intricate designed, huge granite sections. And this is the most difficult material to cut in the stone world.
Yeah, the technique that they use at that time with those pins separated like with 3-4 inches apart for a long way to break off like a big line of these granite blocks. You know, afterwards you have to make it smooth, because you will have all these grooves all the way in each blocks, you know, because that's what
I have a piece of granite here. So this is you can see the saw mark.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I've cut through it with a saw. And you can see how amazing and shiny it is. This is the blue pearl granite. This is the one that is used in every In-N-Out hamburger as their countertop and drive-through window, and it's very expensive. This is what it looks like when it comes out of the quarry or the fabrication place as a 3/4 inch thick slab, and that's blue pearl, you're right. So 3/4 inch thick. So if you can imagine a block that is 4 foot by 4 foot moved into a large fabrication shop with a tractor, and they have a sawing mechanism. Okay, it's called a gang saw. There's like 30 or 40 blades or whatever they use, and each one is 3/4 inch thick. Each one's 3/4 inch thick. So I would like to ask the audience, today's modern world with reciprocating water-cooled machine cut granite, how long does it take to cut 4 feet? How long?
That's a good question, Kairos.
I will, maybe a couple people would like to guess. It's probably a lot longer than you think. It's not hours, it's days. It's 3 days. So this edge, if you can see it, I put the grinding wheel on it to make a very simple rounded edge. And it's very difficult to do this type of work, and it's even more difficult. You can only obtain that mirror-like finish with machines. It has to go through flat machinery, and it has to, the machine, because it, obviously is not conscious, it doesn't know if the stone is there or not. It just polishes.
Right.
So each one of these different colors that make up the stone, the quartz, and the mica and the feldspar and the various silicas. This one here is a unique one. It actually has magnetite, and it will allow my magnet to cling to it firmly, even though the metal detector will not find metal. So very unique stone. But the reason I bring this up is that it's very time consuming to work with these types of stones. And I'm working on a project right now showing the different types of granite. I've got about a dozen samples, and I want everyone to see what types of materials. But what I'm finding is that the lighter color is softer, easier to cut, has a lot more variation in the material. I'm seeing a lot of red color in there. It's also noticeably lighter in weight. So as you start to become the very dark colors.
I had a picture of the sidewalk in Pompeii. It was all melted out. It was clearly all red brick at one time, but it was so melted out that it looked like granite. And you could see the little specks of red in it that were bricks. And literally, I mean, if you would have cut that out and polished it up, you would have a granite piece like what you're showing.
So I wanted to just mention, this was a very simple project. So I took a dozen 12-inch tiles and cut them into equal quarters. Okay. So I've got a bunch of 6-inch pieces now, no waste. It took about a half an hour. And this is not ready for use. This is just, I'm just making some samples that I can manage because they're pretty heavy. Pretty heavy. So, 1 carton of granite tiles, 10 of them, 3/8 of an inch thick. It's about 50
You're not
pounds.
moving granite with horse and buggies, that's for sure.
About 50 pounds of just the actual pieces.
And how are they loading this stuff on,
Right. So it's extremely heavy, and it's very difficult to work with, even with the most modern equipment, as far as transporting and fabricating. So fabricating is the manipulation of the stone into a usable finished product. And we've seen plenty of it that has the carvings and the statues and the column tops and all the intricate details. I find it amazing that many of these details we don't even appreciate until the use of modern zoom lens. There's a lot of time and effort put up in an area that no one could even appreciate.
Nobody can even see it. Yeah,
That's
very
right.
true.
That's right.
I could drop for that.
I think you do. Where is it?
Very true.
Oh boy.
I'll give everyone a little secret. This is from the Brady Bunch. It's the world's best excuse. It's the Greg Brady excuse. It's the Greg Brady excuse for any of you Brady Bunchers.
Okay.
So something suddenly came up. There it is.
I'm not listening to you. You only believe in science.
Something suddenly came up. So that's your that gets you off the hook for anything. The Greg Brady.
All right. Something suddenly came up. Sorry. Here we go. You know what we're going to do? We're going to fire some historians
I like
tonight.
being able to fire people.
The good news is you're fired.
You're fired.
You're fired.
You're fired. You're fired.
I know why jobs come and why they go.
Go, you're fired.
You're fired. You're fired. I'm gonna need your key card.
I know how jobs are created and how jobs are lost.
Piggy, you are fired! You are fired! Piggy, you are fired! Fired!
I understand how jobs come and how jobs go.
You're fired!
I like being able to fire people.
That goes for geologists as well.
So good. Very good.
Thank you, Shapu. These are all from Shapu, guys.
So how do you like this avatar that I'm using?
I like it.
It's kind of troubling.
Yeah.
A little troubling. It's an old historical photo that's been modified. So there's this jester. He's a sad jester, and he's laying low after whatever goes on at the castle. But this one here includes a computer monitor.
Right.
So that's the modern day version.
He's chilling watching our show right now.
There you go.
Oh man, I have something I want to show you guys real quick. It's a little AI animation that I came across, and I thought it was interesting because you see melted buildings in it. Here, let me put it on big screen first before I do that. Okay, here we go. Let me make it big. And in the beginning here, you see melted buildings. See the buildings right here? They're melting. So here we go. Check this out. Everything's all melty looking at it. I thought it was pretty cool because you don't really see stuff like showing melted buildings or anything.
I can't help but notice that the AI did not include a single IV Roman numeral 4 representation on a single clock face.
Yeah, right here. I see it. Yep. Yep.
I don't know why that is.
I don't know, but I know like certain things that are spelt different. If you talk your text, it'll come out the way we remembered it. But if you spell it yourself, it'll be like wrong. I had another video we're going to look at in just a little bit. Let me come off this for a second and get it set up. Let me see.
I have stuff I can show.
Yep, absolutely. We're going to do that in just a second. I just want to show this other one real quick. I'm going to drop the link for this because it's lengthy, or it's at least 8 minutes long. But to watch it and see how it's supposed to look like mountains as you're coming up to them in the AI kind of stream that it's doing. And then it turns into buildings. So that's pretty cool. So here it is here. Let's just make it big for you guys so you can see it. You can just see what I'm talking about here, how it looks like weird kind of structures like mountains and stuff. But then as you get closer to these different things, you'll see structure coming up. Here, let me go a little further in. So the more you come up on this stuff, the more structure starts popping out and stuff. I have to find an AI program that makes, buildings and cities melt down and stuff. That would be cool. I haven't found any yet, but these AIs are getting pretty close to what we're looking at. It's like structure just pops out everywhere, but it's supposed to look like some kind of crazy mountains and stuff.
I'm looking forward to some sort of AI animation of a large area melting.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. That's what I've been looking for.
See what it puts together.
We have to find one and do it ourselves.
I tried to make one. I can show it if you want.
Yeah, Shippo, no problem. Let me come off this. I'll drop the link in the chat if you guys want to check that out. There we go. Stop presenting and come over here to comments. There we go.
No, but I didn't say you could have continued your stuff.
Oh, no. I just wanted to share it with everybody. I didn't want to play too much because I don't want any copyright stuff or anything like that. But if you have something, we can look at it.
Yeah, I had something, but not the video was not. I had it. I did not have it ready,
Okay.
but
I got you. Do you want to get into a screen share though, Shippo?
Well, yes.
Oh, we got 58 people here. Welcome, everybody.
Sorry, I'm just tired.
Oh, it's no problem. Sorry, it's a little late for you over there. I know.
No, but I don't know what's going on.
I'm looking forward to seeing what you have for us. This is going to be great.
I was lost in my tab. Sorry, man. Nothing's going right tonight. Okay? Present. Oh my God.
Take your time. It's okay. You're doing good.
All right. So this is something I tried to do in. What's going on? Sorry, it's not on the right screen. All right.
Oh, there you go.
Let's start it again. Just the thing that they show, you see it like changing into more like a rocky type of surface.
Oh yeah.
It's really because to do these kinds of video, you really have to pay. The free ones are just really short. I had to use all my free stuff just to have like a 13 seconds
Wow, really?
video. So look, it started off like kind of a building, more like buildings, but over it really started to like turn into more solid.
Right.
But that's the closest I've tried. I tried like maybe 1 or 2 times. That was the best rendition that I could have.
I wonder what specific keywords you might try using that will force the animation.
Yes, that's right. You have the right prompt to have the perfect way you want to see it. So you have to try it and try it and try it like hundreds times.
I haven't spent much time with it. How do you like it?
What
is it frustrating?
The AI programs?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, really frustrating. You never get what you want. You have to try it like I said, like 20, 50 times to have like exactly what you want, But I think that's how it's made. So, but yeah, you were talking about how to cut like granite and stuff. So I found like
oh, good,
really interesting
look at that
stuff. I'll just go through. I won't play any of this because I don't know, like these type of thing,
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So
how do they do that?
So those are machine cut angles.
Yes.
On each one you cannot. There's no kind of chisel that's going to give you that result. It's too perfect.
No, exactly.
You've seen the is that Brian Forster there on the
yes, that's him. Yes.
Yeah. So he brings metal straight edges and squares with him now and then to really show the extreme detail in this precision work.
But you know that these things were not cut right there. They a lot of work to make it like this, But I'll show what kind of tool they could have used, because in this one he talks about this, these things and this type of thing here. But what's funny, look around on the ground, you can see pieces of bricks and pottery all over, even of the background here.
A lot of red soil.
Yes, but you can see all of these pieces are either pottery or real bricks. Even all this thing. It's really interesting. But you see, they showed us like these type of cuts, really intricate cuts, really hard to really accomplish without really power tools.
Right. That seems to indicate that there was a saw blade used.
Yes.
And what's interesting is
or maybe something else that I will show.
Yes.
Like you were there, the guy speaks of these type of saw blades, maybe that they use with wires, steel wires. But we know that they had some kind of electricity because of all of the buildings that we were talking about. Then he talks about this, but I don't think he knew that this Abur symbol temple was moved in the early 80s or 70s. It was all
have you spent a little bit of time looking at those moving pictures, by the way? Just a little bit of time. Have you looked at them carefully? The moving of this temple?
Yes.
I question it.
They built the entire hill, supposedly, because
I question it.
Yeah, but it's in our time, so there must have been some witnesses. So somebody can find it somewhere. Me, I really don't care to know, so I won't search for it. But he talks about how they did this thing there, with dynamite and these type of pneumatic tools and chisels like this, like again pneumatic tools. But this is in the 1900s. You see, like
I'm glad you have that picture for us to see. Can you zoom in really close to the eye?
No, it's in a video. That's why I can. Yeah.
So some of the other videos, if you don't mind me interrupting for one moment.
No.
When you look very carefully and very closely at the surface of the stone, it looks like it was cut away with a core drill bit. And depending on the type of the surface of the drill bit, it has left a different texture on the stone, which brings out the highlighting of these pieces.
Yeah.
I think if they were using dynamite at all, they wouldn't be able to do this job. Granted, it's way too brittle to be anywhere near that.
No, I totally understand that.
Yeah, thanks for showing that. There, see, look at that. Look at him. What do you think he's doing?
Yeah, he's probably just gone holes and gonna break it off with something else. I don't know, but who knows? You can see that he's making not for dynamite, that's for sure. But this is not really
the time of the sculpting is said to be very short.
Yeah. But look at the end product, it's totally not exactly like this. You see here, I don't know who went on and with his sandpaper and really put it really smooth. But
this picture is really that was the one you just had, the back one.
Yeah, it looks like there's brick in there to me.
It's very interesting looking, but what I'm getting at is that this is a close-up of something. And that's all I can tell you. There's really not. I mean, it might be there, but where was the guy? Where was the guy standing to get this photo? Because
yeah,
from this vantage point, you're maybe like what 20 or 30 feet away from the workers. That puts you out in space.
Yeah, he used the drone.
That's very true. Very true.
Yeah, I have to wonder. But do you know about Stone Mountain in Georgia?
Yes. Yes, the same guy made the surface carvings.
It's the largest bas relief structure in the world.
Yeah.
And apparently it is to commemorate the losers of the Civil War.
Yeah, exactly. We covered when you covered Georgia, Atlanta state. Man, we did.
No, we covered Georgia.
Yeah, we did. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, we covered, and I showed the old pictures that they wanted, but maybe there was already a temple that went into that rock, but they never did it. But now that thing wasn't there, and now sorry, I'm so tired I can't speak.
That's okay. Mount Rushmore has a chamber in the back too.
Yeah. I just lost my thought. I don't know what's going on tonight. Nothing works. So I don't even know if I want to continue.
I understand. A lot of people have been a little congested lately. How have you been feeling?
Oh no, it's okay. I've just not been sleeping well in a couple of days.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So
I'm having that problem too.
What is insinuating here is that they use probably vibration tools to like chisel some things to make some statues or some just details on some of these old things, because like he showed, you see, he just bangs a I don't even know the name. What's
So was that tuning fork?
Yes, a tuning fork. But look, and
it looks like when he touches the stone, the frequency transmits and possibly could disintegrate the stone.
Yes, this one. But he talks about these again, the Egyptians. I'm not talking about, but they found like huge like tuning forks like this. So maybe they could have used this kind of vibration technology
Absolutely.
to have make some kind of carving, because today what we use are where did I put my these type of things, these oscillating tools that could cut through almost everything in an instant because they're vibrating so fast.
Right.
Right, an ultrasonic tool.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
those are very interesting, but they do have their limits.
yeah. No, it depends on what you put on the type of material, if you have like
so if you've watched Brian Forrester and if you've watched the Baalbek Corey extraction and you look underneath there and you see those scoops, the scoops.
Uh-huh.
I think Chaput might be onto something. What if that was a specialty frequency that allows you to quickly and easily go right through the material?
Right.
Yeah, that's I'm just suggesting they could have used something like that.
It's quite possible.
Yeah, those scoop marks are very interesting.
Yeah, and also with the use, like he showed, like the use of wood.
Close to a range of frequencies, which include those of the music box.
It's like
musical instruments
propagate the sound. I don't know if you hear it.
Frequencies.
Yes.
Simply by modifying
when he touches
the wood.
Music box. As with wooden musical instruments, the wood can be.
Wood can really transmit the sound waves, but like anything can do it. So I just wanted to show this vibrational tool that they could have used. You see in this one, he tried to put like a real chisel on top of an electromagnet that's oscillating, but it's the same tool that I just showed you, but homemade.
Conclusions that
so,
a large tuning fork composed entirely of metal would be.
Wow. Yeah.
So they could have used like some kind of vibration technology with some kind of electricity to produce some kind of carving tool. If ever they ever carved anything, I wasn't there. I cannot know.
So, Kairos, what do you find questionable about that Egyptian site where they supposedly moved the statues and built that whole hill behind it?
So it looks old already, and I believe some of the columns inside the temple may have water lines uniformly on them. Moving those pieces that are as heavy as they are and undercutting them in multiple directions and lifting them off. The picture, it just doesn't look real to me. I've looked at some of the shadow elements. Of course, I wasn't there, but I also wasn't at the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco, which they said they rebuilt, but it's very difficult to find anything that resembles it being rebuilt.
Right.
It
seems like they're trying to create some kind of confusion with these pictures, like especially like the San Francisco fire before and after and stuff. There's a lot of pictures that are suspect.
There were several fires, not just the 1906. There were other fires, and that apparently they were able to build large volumes of structures over and over and over again, and no shortage of workers or materials.
Right. Yeah. They were putting up a building every hour, they said, after the fire.
I think with the number of buildings, it might have to be that fast. They rebuilt the entire city from 1906 and had time to build the Pan Pacific World Expo and have it ready in 1915.
On a swamp. Out in the swamp.
Took care of business. Yeah, they absolutely did it.
Yeah, no shortage of bricks. How did they transport all this stuff? I mean, there's no huge pit left over from this empty spot where clay was, where they dug out all this brick and stuff. It's unbelievable, the story. It really is. And a lot of the buildings are just like what they look like before the fire.
I like this topic of the ultrasonic vibration. It's kind of new. It's something to think about, and it seems like the makeup of the granite itself might lend itself to being used that way.
Yes, this is what I want to just read, like a paragraph here, because they tested it like on granite, like you said, under like ultrasonic vibration. And first, it depends on the sample of vibration you use. But at first, the granite samples underwent like elastic deformation, and then plastic deformation. You can all mold it, and then if you went higher vibration, it would be damaging during this process. So there must have been some preferred, but what is the preferred one is the if you can match the vibration of the granite itself with your tool.
Exactly.
You would cut it like butter, you know.
Right, Chapu. Yes.
So this is what they are trying to do in this test here. They're trying to find like the right frequency of the granite, and adjust your tool to the same frequency to be able to cut it. Just,
I mean, it makes sense. It's so simple.
yeah, and with the tuning fork, you can do this exactly, because there must be a type of tuning fork, because what we have to do are already tuned to a certain frequency. But maybe they had a tool that they just touched some of the stone that they wanted to cut, and this vibrating tool would vibrate at the same frequency, so they had just to match the same frequency with that.
Right, they just had to tune into it.
Yes.
This allows us to start exploring that the cymatic pattern that form. We've been looking at the two-dimensional representations in the sand. You've seen those, of course.
Yes.
But we're wondering, maybe with the correct frequencies from multiple power points, three-dimensional renderings without hands could happen.
Yeah.
Intricate and quick.
Yes, exactly. So this was just like a side video that I wanted to show, because you talked about this the granite and how I just saw this like a couple days ago, talking about cutting granite stone with frequency vibration. But what I wanted to show too, it's something that Jen showed from a previous show that we did with the vibration. They move the water, Jen, with the horn, the Tibetan horn.
Yes.
And this one, he talks about how the sound frequency to move stones, that story that these Tibetan monks.
Reminds me of the walls of Jericho coming down with the horn blasts.
Yes. Or the stomping on the ground also. Yes. If we, I'll play it like maybe 1 minute of this clip.
Out of all of the accounts of sonic levitation in alternative science, probably the most referenced is the Tibetan levitation account. Not only is it relatively recent, being set in the 1930s, but unlike other accounts, some also recent and others ancient, there are many precise and specific details which at least allow for attempts at a scientific analysis. Late author and pilot Bruce Cathy has produced probably the most detailed analysis to date. There seems to be multiple versions of the account, each with the same main details, but with one or more small details that are not mentioned in the others. These variations may simply be due to details that are lost in translations, as the earlier versions of the story were first published in the German, Swedish, and Danish languages. I will read the main gist of the story from the book, The Secret History of Ancient Egypt by Herbie Brennan, and then I will mention the additional details from the other accounts later in the discussion. The story references the sketch shown here that was allegedly made by a Swedish doctor, simply named Jarl. It says that sometime in the 1930s, Jarl was invited by a Tibetan friend to visit a monastery southwest of a town called Lhasa. While there, he was taken to a nearby cliff where the lamas were engaged in a curious construction project. Some 250 meters up the cliff face was a cave entrance fronted by a broad ledge, onto which the monks were building a stone wall. About the same distance from the base of the cliff as the ledge was above it, there was a large flat bowl-shaped stone that was embedded in the ground. Some distance behind it was a group of monks, some of whom were equipped with massive drums and trumpets. Among them was a monk who was using a knotted rope to measure out precisely where each of the others should stand. As Jarl watched, the monks positioned 13 drums and 6 trumpets in a 90-degree arc around the bowl stone. Some 8 to 10 monks formed a line behind each instrument. At the center of the arc were 3 monks with drums. The one in the middle had a small drum that was hung around his neck. The monks on either side of him had larger drums hung in wooden frames. On either side of those drums came monks supporting 3-meter or 10-foot long trumpets that were called ragdans.
So they had like on the side drums, probably to redirect the sound energy into a direct point, and these one pointing directly at the stones.
Right. Wow. This is good stuff, Chapeau.
Behind them were more drums slung from frames, including a pair of the largest drums that Jarl had ever seen. Even further outward, along the arc, were alternating placements of trumpets and drums. He noticed that each drum was open at the end, and that this end was invariably pointed towards the bowl stone. As the doctor watched, a yak-drawn sled dragged a 1.5 meter long by 1 meter wide by 1 meter thick stone block to the bowl stone. A group of straining monks manhandled it off of the sled and with great difficulty into the bowl-like depression. When it was in place, the monk at the center of the arc began to chant rhythmically and beat the small drum. The sound made was so staccato that it hurt Jarl's ears. The rhythm was then taken up by the trumpets, while the attendant monks struck the large drums with their leather-headed sticks. The rhythm was slow at first, but gradually increased in pace until to Jarl, the sound seemed continuous. Even so, the beat of the smallest drum remained discernible throughout everything else. For 3 or 4 minutes, nothing else happened. Then, to Jarl's complete astonishment, the block in the center of the bowl stone wobbled suddenly. He saw the monks slowly tilt their trumpets and drums upward, and as they did so, the block rose with them as if lifted by invisible hands.
Wow.
The sound never faltered. The heavy block sped up as it followed an arced trajectory towards the cave mouth 250 meters up the cliff. When it reached the edge, the sound was cut off and it crashed down in a spray of dust and gravel.
Huh.
The yak-driven sled then dragged another stone to the bowl stone. Jarl discovered that the monks could raise 5 stones in an hour's time using this technique. Occasionally, a block would shatter when it was dropped on the ledge, but the pieces were simply pushed over the side by the monks at the cave mouth. Now,
all right, so you get the point of what they use, like sound frequencies to move objects.
Yeah.
So,
you know, I've seen people sit in these cars that have really loud speaker systems, and they'll sit there and they'll get in the car and they'll turn up the speakers, and their hair and everything blows around and stuff inside the car. I could totally see if they had this all set up like this, that it would create that frequency that it could actually float. It looks like it'll be floating on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I will. Kairos, do you want to say something?
I was going to say it reminds me of that saying that science misunderstood is indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah, exactly. But I will show you what science did, not science, but what we can do now with this same kind of technology, but in a micro way.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't know. Oh, did I lost it? Oh no, where is it? Sorry, wait.
It's okay. Take your time. You're good. Just looking at the comments.
Oh, where is it? Where did it? Oh, okay, sorry, right there.
All right.
All right. Okay. So I don't need the sound. I won't play the sound, but this is new type of, but do not do the same technology that the sound frequencies that I just showed you, but made in a lab from a company. I could like I don't want to put the sound just to not get a strike, but you'll see what they are capable
Everything that they're using to move this stuff is all through sound frequency.
Yes. You see all of this, you will see that.
Well, you know, in Ireland, I think it is, or somewhere there in Scotland, where they have some megalithic ancient structures, they say that they sung the stones into place while they were actually on the ley lines, walking along the ley line path to where they were going to set this up.
So I want to show you. This is glue. They even like put the glue and the sticks all by
sound. Wow.
Yeah, they move just minor, small stuff at the moment.
I think this is what maybe Edward. I don't know about the whole narrative, but Edward Leeds Scallion with Coral Castle.
Yeah, in the
levitated those stones. If that narrative is true, I'm not sure if I even buy that.
Yeah, that was where they introduced the levitation technology, but he never let anyone see what he was doing. It's very questionable.
Right.
Very secretive.
See, they can even move things through these type of things, like without touching anything.
Wow.
Just with sound frequencies.
See, they're bringing this out so late in the game because they know that all you have to do is tune into the frequency of cancer and double it, and you'll obliterate it out of the system. You know, this type of stuff, like the Royal Raymond Wright frequency machine.
Yeah. No, the same. The frequencies are nullifying each other if you you
cancels it out. Yes.
Cancels. Yes, exactly.
Johnny says, fascinating stuff, Shapu.
And you see, look, I'll show you what they showed here. You see what they show here, like this type of diagram, because like this is not what you really see. You see, this is just a representation of the sound waves.
Yes.
That they show.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll show you something really interesting, Jen. You'll like that. This one I wanted to show earlier because when you showed Kairos how they drag, I wanted them to how did they bring all of this stuff, these moldings.
That job site looks like a disaster.
It does. It looks so disorganized.
I know. Yeah,
so have a look at that while you're in that one frame there. Look at that scaffolding and try to imagine even climbing it. I mean, how would you?
Yeah.
How would you climb up it and bring anything with you? It looks unusable.
I'm sorry, it's so slow.
And where's all the people? There's no people.
Yeah, probably one guy right here.
Oh, there's a couple. Okay, I see it, like maybe 4.
But yeah.
So all those pieces there, which all look
that's a lot of wood.
Yes.
You guys are just ready to start assembling it like IKEA project?
Yes, exactly.
They're building all this elaborate stuff with their wood scaffolding here. That's all wood.
Yeah, this is supposed to be the St. Louis Fair.
Oh, no bueno.
Yeah. There's a train track probably dropped from the train. I don't know, but it's.
Yeah, it looks like someone just dropped it right there.
Yeah. But you cannot drop these things; they will break because they're just supposedly just plaster of Paris. You know, very brittle. But that's not the picture I want to show. The one I want to show was right here, Masons.
Guys, you got so many pictures.
Because look at this one, okay? Right, these are masonry, like mason, but yeah, look at
I
this
saw
one.
that one before. That looks like they're stacking plasma there too.
That looks like some levitation going on inside of the.
Yes,
Yep.
Chippewa. Wow. Boom, baby. They know. They've been known.
So they could have used this
What's
type
that, a
of.
melted brick next to it?
No, yes, because these are all masonry things, you know. This to bring the mortar, this to have a break, the sound horn, you know, I don't know. But this is a square, a pendulum to make it straight. But this, what is this, has to do with anything of construction. But when I saw this thing here, whoa.
Wow,
Okay,
it's good that you remembered that picture, Chippewa. Wow.
And I said, I've seen that somewhere. And here you got the burning sun, or the Polaris, I want to say. Because the moon is here.
Polaris it's down between the sun and the moon. It came down, guys. I'm just saying, it came down. It's not at the very top like they always have it. So,
yeah. So I found that really interesting that this thing here was pretty similar of that sound frequency.
What do those words say on the left and the right? What is that?
Septentrional, I guess. Midi.
I wonder what that means.
But Occident, there are just their direction and orient.
Interesting.
So maybe you have, just like you said, Jen, what Head was saying, he had to be a certain direction from the pole. So maybe this is what it says also.
Yeah.
But they don't use north-south. But they use, it's the same thing. It means the same thing, north, south, east, and west.
Very interesting. I wonder where those doors go.
No, I don't know. But
wow.
What else did I had? I don't know. Like I said,
would it be okay to take a short break? And if you have that video that I had mentioned, the Napa light show.
Oh yeah.
That might open up some interesting discussion.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let me put a song on, guys. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back.
Well, I could have put the video of that Kairos just mentioned. Do you want me to put it's 4-minute video?
You want to put the video on while we take the break?
That'd be a nice break.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, because I'm beginning to have a real bad headache.
Yeah, we're going to keep it right around 2 hours anyway.
All right.
We're almost at the 2-hour mark. All right, guys, we'll be right back.
God.
Wow, that was really cool. I love that video. Yeah.
That was fun. I was downtown walking around. They were having a light show presentation. It was on multiple buildings, and it was repeating, and it was like a laser hologram projection. And they had several buildings that they were projecting onto. But do you notice how they incorporate the angles and the geometry very precisely on the building? I like that.
Yeah, it was incredible. I love the way you broke it all down as it was going along too. I mean, and your idea of this stuff being made manifest, it's very interesting, the whole concept.
It is interesting, but it's not out of the realm of what we've heard. We've read about and heard about a creator or creators, and they were using their will to make things so, or to make them exist. It's something we clearly don't understand.
Well, if they were doing what they were doing with sound, rudimentary, if somebody who's, highly tuned and skilled in the manifestation, you would be using all of that, I would assume.
Right. We don't know what type of abilities people were able to use with their minds before they were subjected to people are not encouraged to think for themselves. They're not encouraged to spend a lot of time researching, and they're embarrassed to ask questions, and maybe embarrassed to be wrong. That's not a good way to grow up. It keeps people limited and keeps people isolated, and it makes them very susceptible to believing many things. People can be very gullible, and I think it's important for us to keep our eyes open, our minds open. There's many things that could be real that we're just simply not aware of. I wanted to give just one small experience that I had speaking to a retired military individual. And we were on top of the highest peak of Mare Island looking around, and he was telling me that I could basically believe that the technology that they currently have is about 150 years ahead of what we have now.
Wow.
So essentially, if you can, to put that in perspective, imagine the technology that we use today being available in the 1850s.
Right.
But it's not shared. The technology drips out, but we don't know what they're capable of, and we have to sort out the details as they come in. And a lot of times they're not true, and they are designed to throw us in a different direction and keep us occupied with things that do not enhance us or help anyone. A lot of times they put us into a state of fear. So, very terrible.
Yeah, I think people are fearful to look at this, to look at the truth, because it's too much for them to wrap their head around. What could have possibly have happened? How did all this come about? The repopulation, the short time that we're talking about things happening in,
Yes, and we spoke previously about using the word indoctrination and how that can be a triggering word. No one wants to admit that they were the victim of indoctrination. No one. It's a terrible thing, and it puts us into a very bad spot. But a better word, I feel, than indoctrination, a better term, would be cultural engineering.
Yes.
And there are many tools that are used to direct the minds of the masses, and we find that is coming from the media. And we have to be able to filter through and analyze what is real, what is useful, what affects us, what is worth our time and our energy. But if we find that everything that we're doing keeps us too busy to enjoy our lives, then I think that's the time when people start so-called awakening. They realize what what am I doing? And it's that cognitive dissonance, okay? So that's what the majority of the population have been culturally engineered to avoid.
Yes.
It's a very troubling feeling when you're presented with something that upsets your established thought process and system. And a lot of times what that means, if we encounter a situation where we're going to have to make a choice, that choice, if we choose to pursue a new idea, could be very time consuming.
Yes.
And a lot of times people would just rather watch the football game.
I know what you mean. Yep. Yeah. For sure.
So we've been trained to ignore our senses, and we've been trained to believe the authorities without question or face ridicule from our friends and family. So that's a difficult place to be in, but I think there's a lot of people right now that are very interested in topics like the ones we've been discussing, and also the topics that are found on so many of the other shows and channels that most of us are watching. We are coming together and looking at these photos and ideas in a respectful way, and that kind of takes us to the idea of the debate. And people have, once again, a very skewed definition of what a debate would be. And they like to have shouting matches, and they like to interrupt, and they like to yell, and they like to make goofy noises and use insults and somehow claim the victory.
Right.
Now, this is not a debate, and we hate that. And a lot of times what we find out when we encounter a person like that, it's best just to stop. It's you get dragged in, and before you know it, they've wasted your precious time.
Yep.
And it's just not worth it. Now, on the other hand, if someone wants to ask very serious questions and take the time to listen to very serious answers, many times the very first question that we're going to ask someone when they tell us that whatever subject it is that we're wrong about, that's their first one. You're wrong. They haven't even looked. The very first question many times can be, have you spent any time thinking about this subject before today? Before today. And a lot of times the answer will be no, because they're trained to reject the cognitive dissonance, and especially if it's coming from someone that you respect, or someone that treats you correctly, or a good, long, trusted friend. These are the people you should give them the time of the day. So outright rejecting. So it's fantastic to see so many people that are willing to entertain new ideas, new thoughts. No one claims that we know everything or anything. We're looking and we're seeing, and I really appreciate the two of you and the work you're doing, and all the other the ones that are here. I think we've spent our time useful in a respectful way. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. And we appreciate you, Kairos, and all the work you've done. Thank you so much for coming on with us tonight. It was a great presentation. I had a great time. Shapu, you knocked it out of the park, as you always do, with your information as well. Thank you so much. I know you're tired and got a little headache and everything. We are going to get ready to get out of here, guys. And if you're not subbed and belled to Kairos, please make sure you are. His links are in the description below. Also, I want to thank everybody who has donated to support my channel and have gotten t-shirts and hoodies as well. I love you guys so much, and we're going to get ready to go. Shapu, you got anything to say on the way out?
Well, just thanks Kairos for coming on, and I'm sorry, guys. I'm just not here right now. I don't know what's going on.
It's all good, Shapu. We love you. But I wanted to keep it around 2 hours anyway, so that's good. It's perfect timing to get ready to head out of here. And like I always say, let it not be said that we stood by and did nothing. I love you, Kairos. Thank you so much again for coming on.
Thanks once again. And we look forward to seeing everyone in the next presentation or video or chat section. Thank you, everyone.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're out of here. Bye-bye.
I'm on on the next level. Yeah, I know you heard about it.
Motherfucker.
You know I'm bout it, and don't you ever doubt it. I'm incomparable, that's why they staring though. Turn up the stereo, check it out, check it out, check it out. I'm hot just like a sauna, New York to California. Too hot, too hot. You ain't seen nothing like this, nobody do it like this. I'm on the next level, next level, on the next level. They all trying to catch up to my next level, next level, on the next level. Check it out, check it out, check it out. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
Motherfucker.
You like that old school, back in the music, that shit is old news. I'm popping through the ceiling, that's my motto, that's my motto. I lead, they follow. I'm hot just like a sauna, New York to California. Too hot, too hot. You ain't seen nothing like this, nobody do it like this.
Motherfucker.
I'm on the next level, next level, on the next level. They all trying to catch up to my next level, next level, on the next level. Check it out, check it out, check it out.